Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. To those who support this channel in one way or the other, even the smallest support, I want to say I'm really thankful and humbled. May God continue blessing you. The world is becoming wiser and wiser by the day. Every clandestine talks and actions that are done behind the curtains are beginning to be exposed. The United Nations secrets, the USA secret actions are beginning to be exposed to the whole world. And the dirty machinations and motives will one day come out in the open. There is a report that has leaked out, and I read it from the British Broadcasting Corporation. And this is a leak that is from the Washington, D.C. It touches on, among other things, the war between Russia and Ukraine and how the USA secretly planned to help Ukraine and how they were reporting deaths from Russian military. But that is not what I want to talk about. This secret leaks also touched on our president, William Samoei Ruto, and how the world views him. But before I get into the talks around William Samoei Ruto, it is reported that when these leaks came out, US President Joe Biden was actually furious, and he wants to know who leaked out these secrets. He has actually ordered that investigation be done, thorough investigation, so that they can know who leaked out these secrets. This is what is reported, that according to the BBC, US National Security spokesperson John Kirby said the US government was scrambling to get to the bottom of the leaks. I quote, "This was a series of dangerous leaks. We don't know who is responsible. We don't know why, and we are assessing the national security implications. And right now, there is also a criminal investigation," he said on Wednesday. It continues to say that we want to get to the bottom of this. We want to find out who did this and why. Washington was reaching out actively to allies to answer questions they have about the leaks, so they know how seriously we are taking this. So this is to show you that Washington is not very happy with these leaks. Why? These are some of the kept secrets that they do not want the world to know. But I'm happy that at least we now know what is kept and sealed in the Washington. Now let's go back to Kenya and tell you the secret. According to the BBC, because there was a secret conversation that was going on between the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and his very able deputy, Madam Amina Mohamed. And in that conversation, the character of the Kenyan president, William Samoei Ruto, came up, and Guterres was asking Amina what her assessment about the Kenyan new president is. And Amina was very candid and very frank and very honest. And this is what is reported, that according to the BBC, Amina expressed distrust of Kenyan President William Ruto, describing him as a ruthless and therefore untrustworthy. Quoting verbatim, another document from mid-February describes a frank conversation between Mr. Guterres and his deputy Amina Mohamed. The two talk about recent summit of African leaders. Amina Mohamed says that Kenya's President William Ruto is ruthless and that she doesn't trust him. Amina is the current Deputy Secretary General. She had time to sit down with William Ruto as they were discussing matters climate. You all know that William Ruto is currently planting trees to show the whole world that he's very serious about climate change. The United States of American President, Mr. Joe Biden, has always expressed love and trust for President William Samoei Ruto. In fact, recently, the report that was given by the US ambassador to Kenya, Madam Meg Whitman, praised William Samoei Ruto and said that he's one of the best presidents in Africa. So this report goes against the trust that the US president has for William Samoei Ruto. But I want to start by, let me just ask you, do you trust William Samoei Ruto? And I'm not asking whether you voted for William Ruto or not. And I'm not asking you whether you can vote for him again or not. I'm just asking, do you trust William Ruto? And the reason I'm asking, you will understand that trust is built and trust is earned. I can't meet you for the first time and compel you to trust me. Trust must be a series of events that now makes you conclude whether I am trustworthy or untrustworthy. But Madam Amina met William Samoei Ruto, and within that talk, within that discussion, human psychology revealed to her that William Ruto is untrustworthy and he is ruthless. Maybe the second question I need to ask you, do you believe that William Ruto is ruthless? Do you believe he is untrustworthy? Do you believe the sentiments of the Deputy Secretary General, the UN Deputy Secretary General? From where I sit, I will tell you that the events, words and actions about William Samoei Ruto conclude that he is untrustworthy. William Ruto is a man who quotes wrong scriptures in broad daylight, and he does not blink. William Samoei Ruto can lie to you without blinking. You all know what he said about the cost of living when he was campaigning. And he said he had a plan. Today the plan is not working, and they have decided to change the narrative. They are blaming the last regime. William Samoei Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua signed several treaties with the doctors, with the teachers, with the clergy, with the women, with the youth, and they promised the Hustler Nation paradise. It turns out that he cannot implement those promises. Instead of coming out to apologize and say that, look here guys, I thought this was possible, they are now turning out with their spokesman, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and they're putting the blame on Uhuru Kenyatta. Bandits are ravaging and they are taking control of Northeastern Province and Baringo. They can't say anything. There is a drought and hunger, but all they can say is that it was Uhuru Kenyatta. They are unable to pay civil servants. The answer is Uhuru Kenyatta. Reports are coming out that there are some government officials in this regime who are very corrupt. It is Uhuru Kenyatta. Everything according to them is Uhuru Kenyatta. But one thing that has pleased me about this report is one. The relationship between William Ruto and the West has been a very cordial one. And the West has done everything to package William Ruto as the best African president, because they know that William Ruto is their boy child. He is there so that he can be controlled. He can be controlled to accept the GMO. He can be controlled and switched to accept LGBTQ, albeit through the back door, through the Koome-led judiciary. He can be switched to give them contracts, because William Ruto came on a platform that they wanted to drive China away from Kenya. It turns out to be very difficult. It's not a walk in the park, because we have got loans, huge loans from China. If we mess around, Kenya will be auctioned. And so William Ruto is walking a very precarious road. He has to please the West because he had promised. He has to please the Chinese government because he cannot do without them. But this is a wake-up call, and the whole world must know that USA, Britain, and a number of European Union countries supported William Ruto. And this is the reason why today Kenyans are on the street demonstrating against The high cost of living. The high cost of living that came up as a result of William Ruto abandoning the subsidies on fuel, subsidies on electricity, subsidies on maize flour. This had been initiated by the former regime to ensure that at least Kenyans afford these very commodities that we can't do without. But since the International Monetary Fund came up and they signed a deal with William Ruto, we are suffering. And William Ruto does not care because he's looking at the masters. Kenyans are asking for electoral justice. And we are asking a very simple question. We believe William Samoei Ruto won fair and square. USA believes William Samoei Ruto won. The African Union Council believes William Ruto won. The European Union believes William Ruto won. The United Nations believes William Ruto won. But there is one question that all of them are avoiding: opening the server. It is as simple as ABC. Why can't they just open the server to show the whole world that they won? So Raila is on the street with many Kenyans who are suffering. They want electoral justice. They want this server to be open because more and more leaks are coming out how the IEBC committed electoral atrocities and robbed Raila of his victory. They can't open the server. The reason we don't know, but your guess is as good as mine. So Joe Biden must understand, because no wonder he's very furious, because now when he trusts William Samoei Ruto, the deputy is saying he does not trust William Ruto. Gutierrez, I think, trusts William Ruto. He trusts him. But Amina does not trust Ruto. We in Kenya, majority of Kenyans don't trust William Samoei Ruto because he says one thing, he does the other. He does not keep his promises. I am one person who believes that if William Ruto would open that server today, I would trust him. For sometimes, I thought that William Ruto won the elections fair and square, but he has refused to open this server. USA must understand that this is our country. They must not come and dictate to us what they want us to do. And that is exactly what is happening. I love that leak because it will be an eye-opener to the whole world about the USA and their system and how they interfere with internal affairs of the other countries. And that is my take.